Hello there guys, welcome back to the Stamford Voice, and as I always tell you, this is a feel good channel. Now today it's a cool Wednesday where we get a chance to talk about Chelsea news. And by the way, I'm really surprised at how Chelsea manages to get these deals for players, because these are the same things that Manchester United are struggling with. I mean, Chelsea is sold Joao Felix. Chelsea has sold Noni Madueke. We have sold Leslie Ogochukwu. We have sold KDH, Kenan Dewsbury Hall. We have sold, we have sold so many players that I even forget the names of some of them. But Manchester United cannot sell 2-3 players. I mean, Chelsea, you should give your tutorials to Manchester United, because at this rate, Chelsea is overdoing things that other clubs are struggling with. Now, today we have loads of transfer news when it comes to Chelsea. We know very well Chelsea is planning to move out a few players before they can bring in the likes of Xavi Simons and Alejandro Garnacho. Now, there's a lot of news concerning the outgoings. Of course, there is the Nicholas Jackson rumors. We have the Christopher Nkunku news. We have the Garnacho news. But we have some big breaking news when it comes to Renato Veiga and Carney Chukwuemeka, because Chelsea are doing things that are so surprising, especially when you consider how difficult it is for other clubs to move on the players that they do not want to keep. But we also have some problems. We have the likes of Sterling and Chilwell, who are a little bit difficult to find a move for them. Now, before we get to that, I want to start on with a news about one defender. Now, I know you have seen that from the title. That is Wesley Fofana. So today in the morning, it came out that Wesley Fofana had deleted all Chelsea photos from his Instagram account. Now, that is always, especially when a player is linked to a move to another club, when they go ahead and delete photos of his current club from their social media handles, it shows that they are really pushing for a move. But this is quite different, because Wesley Fofana has been injured for a long time. He has not been linked to any move. There has been no inquiries, especially this summer. Last summer there was some strong inquiries from Marseille, but that didn't go through. This summer we have not had anything. We have not had any serious or concrete interest on Wesley Fofana. But now when the player comes out and deletes all his photos that feature Chelsea, then that signals trouble in paradise. But it doesn't seem like that is the case in this case, because we have some news on that, whether the deleting of the images from Wesley Fofana's Instagram page indicates any problems with Chelsea. And here is what has been reported. So, Chelsea Dodgers say contact within the Wesley Fofana camp says all is well and no issues with Chelsea at all. Now, this for me is a big surprise, because if truly there are no issues between Wesley Fofana and Chelsea, why then would he go ahead and delete all his images that feature Chelsea on his Instagram channel? I think this is a story that is going to develop. There must be a reason for this. I don't think you just, if you love a club, you play for a club like Wes does, I don't think you just wake up one day and go and delete all the images that feature that club in your Instagram channel. Even if it is being reported that there are no issues between Wesley Fofana and Chelsea, I think this is a story that is going to keep on coming out slowly and slowly. You remember the Romelu Lukaku story before he did that interview that he did, claiming that he wants to go back to Italy, blah 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 blah. Before he did that interview, there were signs that things were not working really well, and I think this deleting of images by Wesley Fofana from his Instagram channel is an indicator there is something happening. It could be a white smoke, it could be nothing, but for me, in my own opinion, I think there must be something. But I think that the Wesley Fofana camp is not coming out clearly to say what exactly it is. If um, if I were to guess, if I was to speculate, I would say Wesley Fofana wants to play, but the coaching staff have told him he has to come back slowly. I think that that could be the main problem, because you remember the last time he was injured, the coach had said that he would take some time before Wesley Fofana would start, or at least play full games for Chelsea. But Wesley Fofana pushed to play at that time, and he got injured again, I think. So I think for me, what I would speculate from that story is that Wesley Fofana wants to play right now, but the coaching staff and the medical staff at Chelsea have told him that he has to be patient, he has to wait, and I think that could be the only reason why Wesley Fofana and the Chelsea camp could have some issues. I don't think it has anything to do with a transfer, but I guess with time we are going to find out what is happening. Now, I want to move on from the Wesley Fofana story and talk about our number 3 striker, Nicholas Jackson. Now, Nicholas Jackson has been a striker who has been in the news for a long time, but with no concrete interest from a concrete club. I mean, Napoli have been reported to be interested. Bayern Munich have been reported to be interested. Aston Villa have been reported to be interested. Newcastle have also been linked to Nicholas Jackson. At some point, Manchester United were interested in Jackson. Now, all these clubs were thrown around in the media to be interested in Nicholas Jackson, but none of them made any concrete steps to sign Nicholas Jackson. Okay? Now, here is the deal from Chelsea. Chelsea consider Nicholas Jackson as a top striker, even if he is currently our third or maybe third striker. And the reason why is because of the prices that have been thrown around, especially this summer when it comes to strikers. I think at some point Victor Gyökeres was quoted around 100 million. Sesko at some point was quoted around 80 million pounds. We have the Ekitike story, who came to Liverpool for around 95 million. Now, when you look at all these strikers, Jackson is not quite far from them. I think in terms of numbers and statistics, he's probably better than some of them. So that is why Chelsea are insisting on the number 80 million pounds, and I appreciate that and I understand that. But if we have to be honest with ourselves, I don't think we are going to get 80 million pounds for Nicholas Jackson. But we have to get a substantial figure that is a little bit in line with the prices that other strikers have moved for this summer. Now, let's hear what Ben Jacobs had to say about Nicholas Jackson. Here is Ben Jacobs. He says, I understand clubs interested in Nicholas Jackson are being told a loan with obligation may be possible under the right conditions. And here, here are the right conditions. 10 million pounds loan fee. Chelsea are really serious. Aston Villa are exploring a deal, and Newcastle or Milan move can be discounted. Jackson is expected to have several options if Chelsea's 80 million pounds valuation drops south of 70 million pounds. Okay. Now, I understand Chelsea quoting a Nicholas Jackson fee at around £80 million. But obviously and clearly we know, if a club came to Chelsea knocking with a serious 70 million pounds, even if it's 60 million and 10 million in add-ons, I think Chelsea will accept it. So basically, Nicholas Jackson is going to find a club this summer. And for me, of course, considering the welfare of the player, Nicholas Jackson, I would like to see an Aston Villa move. I would like to see an Aston Villa move, because I think Aston Villa would be very good for Nicholas Jackson. I think he would grow in Aston Villa, and as I mentioned, Unai Emery was his former coach, and in fact, Unai Emery is the coach that made Nicholas Jackson more like a star that Chelsea would be interested in. So for me, I believe if Nicholas Jackson manages to make a move to Aston Villa, that would be great for him. So let's just wait and see. And obviously, Chelsea are waiting for a move for either Nicholas Jackson or Christopher Nkunku before they can bring in either or both of Xavi Simons and Alejandro Garnacho. And hold your horses there, because I have some Garnacho news coming up front. But before we move on to Garnacho, let's talk about Christopher Nkunku, because obviously the club has informed people that they have to make sales before they can bring in new players. So let's see what is being reported about Christopher Nkunku. Here is Simon Phillips. He says, Christopher Nkunku is open to a reunion with his former club, although other options are on the table. A deal with Leipzig is not close, but there is confidence that they will be able to come to an agreement with Chelsea on a fee for the France international. Now, of course, Christopher Nkunku was heavily linked to Bayern Munich, but it came out in the media that the Bayern Munich, is it the owners or the chiefs, informed the directors that going forward, the only kind of business they can do, especially in this particular transfer window, is loan deals alone. And of course, Chelsea have been very clear that they are not accepting any sort of loan deal for Christopher Nkunku. And also, Christopher Nkunku himself is in line with the club's thought on a permanent departure from the Stamford Bridge. So basically, now with such kind of information, that puts Bayern Munich out of the Christopher Nkunku story, because the only way Bayern Munich can get Christopher Nkunku is if they can strike a loan deal. But again, now Chelsea Football Club are not interested in any loan deal for Christopher Nkunku. Now, if that is the case, then that means such a transfer to Bayern Munich is not possible. And now, RB Leipzig are coming out as serious interested club in Christopher Nkunku, and I think Nkunku will score 25 goals in Leipzig, if I'm being honest. But the sad part is Leipzig is not the club you move when you want to win titles. Leipzig is not the club you move when you want to make a step up. And thirdly, it always feels like going back to your former club always feels like, especially at the peak of your career, where I think Christopher Nkunku at 27-year-old is at, going back to your former club feels like your growth is retrogressing, and it's sad to see that happen for Christopher Nkunku. I was so optimistic of a Bayern move for Christopher Nkunku, because to be honest, Christopher Nkunku is a good footballer. He just didn't match with the Chelsea playing structure currently. So that is that. But in the interest of the club, I really hope that a move for Christopher Nkunku to RB Leipzig finally materializes, because obviously we want to bring in new players. We want to bring in Xavi Simons and obviously Alejandro Garnacho. Now let's move on to the next story, because as mentioned in the start of this video, we have some huge news on Carney Chukwuemeka, and here is the story. Now, Fabrizio Romano came out with this. Chelsea remain very clear with all clubs interested in Carney Chukwuemeka. Is not available on loan. Now, hold your thoughts on that, because we have some other news on Chukwuemeka. Ben Jacobs came out with an exclusive. He said, Juventus have approached Chelsea about signing Carney Chukwuemeka. Chelsea continue to insist on a permanent transfer. Dortmund have already had multiple offers rejected. Now, you remember we bought Carney Chukwuemeka, I think is it 1 year or 2 years ago? A couple of years ago for around, I think, 20 million. And this player was really promising for Chelsea, except for the injuries that he got that brought him back and brought him down to the pecking order. I think Carney Chukwuemeka is a great player, and of course, the main interested club has been Dortmund, but we know very well Dortmund do not like paying high fees for players. Dortmund is an example of that man who loves beautiful babes, but does not want to pay to spend on this kind of things. So Dortmund have been insisting on Chelsea for a loan transfer, but Chelsea are not interested in any sort of loan. So it's quite interesting to see a club. Of course, Juventus is a big club. Of course, if you compare Juventus and Borussia Dortmund, Juventus is a bigger club. So I think it would be a good move for Chukwemeka. If he goes to Juventus and gets a starting spot, then I think his career would grow and would do well. So let's wait and see whether that Juventus move becomes serious, or is gonna be another story like we had the Leipzig and the Dortmund story. So we hope the Juventus move will become important. Now, moving on from Chukwemeka, we have a big story on Renato Veiga. Remember, Renato Veiga had an almost finalized move to Atletico Madrid, but that fell through. But now we have a concrete interest for Renato Veiga. Here is what Fabrizio Romano had to say. Villarreal have agreed personal terms with Renato Veiga. Talks are well underway with Chelsea. As exclusively revealed last week, the Spanish club is negotiating to agree on terms also with Chelsea FC. Current proposal, 24 euros plus add-ons, trying to get closer to 30 million million euros package. Now, I love Renato, and I thought really we would get around maybe 30 million pounds plus add-ons for a player of his caliber. It's sad to see that value go down, because obviously with this current era of PSR, you need to make as much money as possible from your sales. And by the way, even if I'm complaining about that current proposal, I think Chelsea are doing a great, in fact, they are doing a brilliant job in terms of this outgoing. So for our sake, I really hope that this particular Renato Veiga transfer story goes through, so that now we can be able to bring on, because I am imagining if Chelsea manage to sell Renato Veiga, we manage to sell Carney Chukwuemeka, and these are all permanent transfers. If we manage to make the Renato Veiga transfer, we make the Christopher Nkunku transfer, we make the Nicholas Jackson transfer, and maybe one other transfer, I think we can comfortably bring in Xavi Simons and bring in Alejandro Garnacho, and possibly consider bringing in a new ball-playing centre-back, because we really need a ball-playing centre-back. We are quite short on that. And Levi Colwill is on a long-term injury. We are still waiting to see whether Tosin Adrabioyo will be back on Wednesday against West Ham. And by the way, the Chelsea versus West Ham pre-match video will be coming tomorrow. So keep peeled and make sure you subscribe. Now let's move on to two final stories here. We have Raheem Sterling. Now, you remember me praising Chelsea for the work they are doing with the outgoings? Now, here's the difficult part. We have a few players that we are finding it very difficult to move on, and one of them is Raheem Sterling. Here's what Matlow had to say about Raheem Sterling. Chelsea are prepared to consider loan proposals for Raheem Sterling as they attempt to secure the exits of 8 more players before the transfer window shuts in 2 weeks. Now, I don't really know what happened to Raheem Sterling. I don't know why his performances in Chelsea, even to Arsenal where he moved, have not really lived up to the Raheem Sterling that we know of. But hopefully he gets maybe a mid-table Premier League loan, maybe a Fulham. Everton have already got Jack Grealish, so I don't think there is space there. Again, it was really surprising to see Leeds beating Everton 1-0 in match day 1. So I really thought that Everton were quite strong to lose 1-0 to Leeds. So we'll see what happens with that. But Chelsea are open to a loan move for Raheem Sterling. Now, let's move to the final story, and that is Alejandro Garnacho. Now, a lot of reports have been circulating stating that Chelsea believe in the Alejandro Garnacho talent, and they think that the reason why he's not doing well, or he has not done that well at Man United, is because of the Man United environment and the team itself. So there is a belief within the club that Garnacho would flourish at Chelsea. So we have to wait and see. So there's some news report on Alejandro Garnacho. Again, Matlow quoting Fabrizio Romano. Chelsea believes Garnacho has big potential and can develop into a really important player. He's already been a player on the big stage for many years. He's 21. Chelsea sees value in him. Big opportunity on the market. Now, I think the Xavi Simons and Ale Garnacho transfer to Chelsea is going to happen one way or another. So, the reports of what doesn't really matter. Garnacho is coming to Chelsea. Xavi Simons is coming to Chelsea. Anyways, that is all we had today. Don't forget to subscribe. Tomorrow, stay here because we'll have our match preview tomorrow for the West Ham game. Because remember, we have a game on Friday. We are playing against West Ham, where we are really hoping for number 1, a big performance, and number 2, 3 points. So, see you tomorrow for the pre-match video. Bye.